my biggest question was, who do I pitch to? How do I pitch? I would say within a month of starting the modules, I was able to just figure out who I am, figure out what I wanted, and then pitch for me successfully. It's kind of not rocket science, but you kind of know that there's something that works. And for me, it worked. And I've used your templates, definitely helps with the admin, definitely. I mean, even though I'm in a different country, they made sense. They needed a bit of tweaking purely because of my personal brand. But, they were far more than a starting point. They were more like almost done when I got them. And I literally went very old school. I made a list of anywhere that I would like to work, anyone I would like to work for. The very first email response I got from my pitches was someone asking if I do retro fonts. But then I started getting other responses and I realized that my time would be full and I could say no. But it means that by working for my ideal client, I'm getting more work from my ideal client.
Do you ever feel like you're putting in so much time and effort into your business, but only profiting just a couple $100s a month? If you're feeling this way, trust me, you are not alone. Countless other calligraphers, including myself, have also felt this way. Today, we're talking with Surahbi, who is the artist behind the Cambridge Calligrapher, who felt the exact same way just 3 months ago. So prior to the Craft Academy, Surahbi was actually working as a mathematician in Cambridge, UK, and didn't really have the amount of freedom that she desired in her life for her friends and her family. After joining the Craft Academy, she's been able to pay back her investment in just 3 short weeks and has been able to work for private membership clubs, distilleries, private events, and brands like Joe Malone, just to name a few. I'm so excited to tell you about her story and how she turned her simple side hustle into a full-time business. If you like really cool stories just like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the alarm so that you don't miss any more of these educational calligraphy videos. And if we haven't met yet, hello, my name is Rosie. I am the calligrapher behind Crafter. I'm also the founder of the Craft Academy. The Craft Academy is actually a step-by-step program built to help calligraphers just like you build, scale, and automate their calligraphy businesses so that they can live the life that they have truly designed. Ever since I started my business in 2017, I have made countless mistakes, wasted so much time, energy, money, and anxiety trying to figure everything out on my own until I realized that the things that I was doing for my business, I could actually use to teach other calligraphers just like you to do the exact same thing and be able to work with their dream brands and accelerate their path to success. So let's get started and talk with Sue. So Sue, please tell us what your journey to entrepreneurship looked like.
Oh, wow. Hi. I was really excited when you invited me for this interview. My journey into entrepreneurship has been fairly recent, if I'm honest. So I always considered myself a side hustler for calligraphy. I never thought of that it would ever be my main income until I needed more flexibility. And quite frankly, my entrepreneurship journey truly has only been since sort of the beginning of June. And that's really when I really immersed myself into the Craft Academy and the modules, and especially, the first module, and just found that actually my journey began with an understanding of myself, what I could provide, what I needed my work to be, and how I could find my ideal client in order to make sure that my work had a balance between what I needed to do, what I wanted to do, and what I needed to do around me.
Yeah. So I think what's really interesting is you mentioned you needed more freedom because you were working essentially kind of like a 9-to-5 corporate job. Yeah. And I know you're kind of a newer mom. So tell us more about like your mental kind of transition from going from like a full-time 9-to-5er to now a full-time calligrapher job.
So my journey started actually on my maternity leave. So I became a mom in 2016. You say new, I feel very old sometimes. I have a 7-year-old. But my journey started when I was on maternity leave, and actually while I was pregnant, just in a local fair, I saw a little beautiful calligraphy kit and calligraphy pen, and I actually have it with me. It's this one that I bought years and years ago, and I always thought it was a really little kit. It was just a pen and a couple of nibs, and it was in a beautiful like porcelain box. And I bought it thinking, maybe I'll have some time during maternity leave. And then when the baby came, it was just full on. I went from being the boss to being the slave. And
Oh
quite
my gosh.
literally, it was full on. And I needed something to help me mentally switch off. Because, you know, being a mom is 24 hours. Even when you're on time off or you're ill or you're feeling low or tired, it's 24 hours. And I needed to find a way to switch off, but still be around. And I just found with calligraphy that perfect vacation where I could just spend hours and hours, whether I was sitting in a cafe or whether I was at home or I needed to answer the door or answer to the baby or whatever, I could do it. And I just spent hours on my maternity leave improving my technique. And I never thought in a million years that little vacation will lead me to something that was, you know, worthy of a career, worthy of, you know, a real income, you know, for grown-ups who have to pay bills and things like that. So that's kind of where I started with my calligraphy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that you said that you have to be a grown-up and pay bills. And for a lot of people, calligraphy it seems like a hobby and just something to do for fun. And for a lot of people it is, right? But it's amazing that you were able to take that, and together we've been able to transform that hobby into a real life adult business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me what your specialty in calligraphy is now.
Well, definitely now I found that my specialty is personalization. I've personalized all kinds of things in the last few months. I've personalized little trinkets, you know, all kinds of sort of perfumes, very expensive bottles of cognac. I've done tiny little, you know, the metal part of pens that help you clip onto your pocket. Yeah. I've done those. I've done so many place cards because every event wants place cards. And, you know, the number of people who've told me, you know, people always take those home as a memento, especially when they've got a little cute little brand on them and, you know, hand lettered writing. It's absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, I tell myself sometimes that, oh my God, these are just so beautiful. So that's something that I've really honed into as personalization, because I actually find it's a bit of a trait that people just love. They love seeing their name in calligraphy. People love seeing their names engraved or their brand name or anything like that. People absolutely love it. And it's such an easy sell if you can do it well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, I love everything that you said. And it's always so unique to see your own name in the twinkle lights, you know. It's super cool to see someone else write it in such a fancy kind of, you know, special way. And that's really what us as calligraphers we strive for, is creating that memory for people, to create that personal touch and help elevate brand recognition.
In fact, that's like the most common comment I get is, oh my God, my name looks so fancy, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you know? I even hate writing my own name sometimes. So
oh God, I hate writing my own name.
Someone else writes it for me, I'm like, I'm keeping this forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, amazing. So tell me, let's do like a quick summary of your timeline. When did you join the Craft Academy and when did you start seeing results?
So I joined in May. I think it was middle May, but I was still working a 9-to-5 at the time. So I was time poor to do, you know, all of these extra things. But I had decided that I needed to leave my 9-to-5. To be honest, the day I handed in my resignation, I was filled with terror that when I leave, I'm going to have nothing to do. This idea of being completely like without any sort of calendar or a busy schedule, you know, I wasn't going away from a busy life. I just wanted a more flexible life. So I had side hustled with calligraphy for a few years. I had a couple of steady clients that were bringing me in, you know, enough to reimburse me really. But I would say within like a month of starting the modules, my biggest question was, you know, who do I pitch to? How do I pitch? I was able to just do the modules, figure out who I am, figure out what I wanted, and then, you know, pitch for me successfully. And just started contacting potential clients. You know, it's kind of not rocket science. You know, you can try and fail, but you kind of know that there's something that works. And for me, it worked. That, you know, why would you try all the other things knowing that you're going to fail.
Yeah, instead of trusting in a program that's tried and true and has worked for hundreds of others.
Absolutely. It was even the sort of the setup of the program, module 1, module 2, it kind of all just fits in and makes sense. And it made perfect sense to me. I have never run a business before, so it was something that I could work through quite happily.
That makes me so happy. That means that I did my job really well and created a good program.
You did.
And even still, we're doing like a big update this summer, so it's going to be even better. So I'm excited for you guys to see all of that. Yay!
No, absolutely, Rosie. I'm grateful for you every day because I kind of didn't realize what was possible, because in a way you don't know what you don't know until you take the plunge.
Yeah, 100%. And really just not only trusting in yourself, but trusting in the people that you've hired to help you with that transformation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what has been your favorite transformation in these past 3 months?
My favorite transformation is actually knowing and believing that what I want to do is possible. Because my 9-to-5 job, it was absolutely not possible for me to be flexible. I was very good at it. I was successful. I was happy, but I just couldn't continue to do it with what I wanted to do, with my life, with my time. I needed more flexibility. And you know what? It is absolutely possible. And knowing that builds an interesting kind of confidence when you're pitching. It builds this kind of voice in you where you're believable to the people you're pitching to as well. So absolutely, my biggest transformation is actually knowing rather than wondering that it's possible. But, I got to be honest, I think I've said this to you before, Rosie, that, success and money won't just fall into your lap. Right. There is a program, you got to work through it. And if you work through it, you will know what to do. And if you don't work through it, you won't know what to do. It's not a magic pill. Exactly. And, find me a job that's zero work. But it's fun because it's going to be successful. And it's fun because you're kind of driven by this positivity that you're doing well.
Yes. Oh, exactly. And honestly, like your words mean so much more to me because you are a mathematician. And so like for you, you're like very number oriented, organization, structure. And so that, I'm kind of the same way, having a pharmacist background. So it's awesome. We have that relationship already, and it's awesome to just get confirmation that someone like you, who is so number oriented, is doing so well with the program because it is laid out in a very succinct manner.
It's succinct, and it does. I know you say that, you can do the modules as and when. I know you say there's lots of flexibility, but there is a method to the madness. And it's correct. You can do the modules as and when, and you can do them again if you need to, if you need reminding. And as you say, you're doing a big update, those come your way. But absolutely, by doing all of them, you kind of see how the pieces of the puzzle kind of fit together. And there are a lot of pieces of the puzzle when you run your own business. In my previous job, I could say, that's not my job, send it to marketing. That's not my job, send it to admin, and you kind of can't do that when you're a one-man band. And it can either be a drag or it can make sense. And you just really, it's so much easier on your mental health if it makes sense.
Yeah, we said this on our coaching call this week. I know you weren't there, but that's okay. With a 9-to-5 job or even a corporate job, you know what your job is going to be when you arrive on site. You know what time to be there, when to clock in, when to clock out, when to eat lunch, and what exactly your duties are lined out for the day. But with calligraphy and entrepreneurship, you're wearing every single hat. You're the HR department, you're advertising, you're the artist, you're the CEO, you're accounting. And a lot of those hats, they get so convoluted, especially for someone who isn't experienced with that and doesn't have that balance already. And so having the program like TCA, it helps with all of that admin stuff. So you do feel more confident and more comfortable.
Oh, it definitely helps with the admin. Definitely. Even things like all the templates that you share, it just takes, the monster of doing this sort of activity away. And I've used your templates, even though I'm in a different country, they made sense. They needed a bit of tweaking purely because of my personal brand. But, they were far more than a starting point. They were more like almost done when I got them. So it was just a little bit of a tweak here and there. And my goodness, that helps. That helps so much with the, just, you know, as I said, the mental health aspect, you know, the optimistic outlook you might have that you might lose because, you know, there's just something you really just don't want to do. I mean, I don't want to be writing contracts. As you said, I'm a mathematician. I don't want to write essays. And just having those, you know, it just makes all the difference, because that really fills me with fear, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So let's back up a little bit, and I'd love to kind of know what your business looked like in the very beginning, when you first started the Cambridge Calligrapher. So what did your daily life and schedule look like when you first started the business?
So when I first started, I was still doing my 9 to 5, and my life was, I mean, literally full time. When I mean full time, it really was, because I was trying to work 9 to 5 and not wanting to let go of that because, you know, grown-up bills, etc. I was obviously doing, you know, the Saturday morning football practice, the ballet lessons, all of those, the swimming lessons. I was doing all of that. I was doing all the home stuff, and I was just, you know, trying to find more clients. I had 2 clients who were like really regular, but I was just trying to find more clients, and I wasn't getting them. And I was so fearful of losing my technical skill that I was just doing a lot of calligraphy practice, engraving practice, but actually it was a little bit disheartening because it wasn't going anywhere. And it was a little bit like being between a rock and a hard place, because it wasn't going anywhere because I didn't have time, and I didn't have time because I was working, and I was working because I needed to pay bills, you know, so it was like this vicious circle that I couldn't get out of. And I just felt that, you know what, I'm just going to have to take the jump. And I didn't want to take the jump like into the abyss. I wanted to do it so that I knew I had something that I could trust. But this is what my life looked like before. Like
you wanted to jump into a slide where you knew exactly where that was going to go into like the
I mean, it wasn't just like a black hole. And, you know, I mean, when I say I was working, I don't know, 100 hours a week, it's probably true. I was working my 9 to 5. I was doing 3 to 4 hours every evening on calligraphy. I was grabbing every moment I could, you know, guilt tripping my husband into looking after my daughter all the time, you know, taking time at weekends, just because, you know, when you're trying to build something that you want to be full time on, it's difficult to do it like half-assed, you know, you kind of just have to give it your all. And it's too much, you know, nobody can do 2 full-time jobs. There aren't enough hours in the day.
Oh, absolutely. And still balance a family, a child.
Yeah, a child, life, personal relationships, friends, you know, it's all part of life, and it's not possible.
Something had to give.
Something had to give. And you know, the thing that had to give was the thing that was bringing me least joy. And you know, figuring out a way of making this work was the thing that gave me drive, because before there's no way I could have taken the jump, Rosie. I was earning so little with calligraphy. It wouldn't have paid, I mean, it wouldn't have paid one bill, forget bills. You know, it wouldn't have paid ballet lessons for my daughter.
Can you give us insight into what that actually looked like for you? Because I know you were still working a full-time job, but... Yeah,
so I mean, if I'm honest, I was more reimbursing myself because I didn't know how to price my time and my products properly. But it was more reimbursing what I bought. I was probably making about £350 a month. Which is not a job. I mean, there's, you know, 14-year-olds working in pubs earning more than that. It absolutely isn't. But as I said, I did not know. I knew in my corporate life to say, you know, this person in another company doing my role is earning this much. I need to be earning this much. I do this. This is how I bring value, you know, pitching to the board. I could do that. But I just didn't really know that there were people out there and how much they would pay for what level of service. I definitely didn't know how to price my time, how to price my work, how to source things correctly. So that I was being efficient, both, you know, in terms of time and money. Profit margins, you know, they were non-existent. They were this magical thing that will come in the future. And that future just wasn't coming.
Safe to say that your life and what you visualized for it were not in alignment.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think that's super impactful because there's a lot of people who are still in your shoes 3 months ago. I remember commuting to my pharmacist job and driving and just listening to podcasts and just like wishing and wanting for things to be successful, but not being able to take the necessary steps to get there because I didn't have the guidance. So, having a program like this makes a huge, huge difference.
It's like a fallback, every time you have a question, it's like a fallback. You can go to a coaching call, you can go to a friend in our group, you can go to the group. There are so many ways that you can just sort of, bounce ideas and just ask questions, and nothing's a stupid question. We all did this for the first time at some point.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, definitely my life was definitely not aligned with what I wanted it to be like.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being in the program. You offer so much positivity. Love when you come to our coaching calls. So let's fast forward to today. And, I'd love to share more of your story and understand what were some of the biggest changes that you made in your business since you started the program.
So one of the biggest changes I made was pricing. I really wasn't pricing my work correctly. And there's a lot of variables that go into pricing. There's a lot of thought that goes in. It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to charge this much for this product and this much for this product, and people are going to come and buy it. There's a lot of thought that goes in, and not just thought. There's a lot of research that goes in as well. And having a bit of structure on how to do that is really useful. The other thing that I really didn't have was brand identity. If somebody asked me what I was good at, you asked me what I offer, and I said definitely personalization. I couldn't have said that before because I didn't really know what I offered. I was good at calligraphy. I had 2 clients. They asked for what they wanted, and I did it. Almost like a workhorse. So yeah, that's the 2 things I would say is definitely changed. And now, certainly people locally, if they approach me, they know what I do.
Yes.
Because they've heard it or they've seen it from someone locally. Like, if someone's seen a perfume bottle I've done, they will come to me asking for personalization of the perfume bottle. And that's what I do, I can absolutely
that's our goal,
do that.
To have you become known for your top 2 niches, whether, it's personalization, it's engraving, it's live events. It's so amazing to hear that you've been able to transform your business and become known for that specific thing in your local area. I think that makes a huge difference.
It does. It absolutely does.
Yay, amazing. So I think one thing that we wanted to touch base on is pitching. Because I know you've had a really huge jump in your business because you started pitching using the methodology from the Craft Academy. So tell us more about that.
So, Rosie, going back to our first call before I sort of took the jump, that was my question to you. I asked you at the end, you said, do you have any questions? And I said, Rosie, are you going to teach me how to pitch? Because I don't know what I don't know, and I need someone to tell me what I don't know. And my God, you did. And I literally went very old school. I made a list of anywhere that I would like to work, anyone I would like to work for. And I went small, I went big, I went gigantic, I went local, national, international. I just had a couple of templates. I had a couple of pitch emails. I personalized each one, and I just went down the list one at a time. Now, I got to be honest, I wasn't 100% successful.
Sure.
Definitely not. I sent a lot of emails, but I have enough work, touch wood, to fill my time. And I just want to tell a little story, because the very first email response I got, and calligraphers out there, you will cringe. The very first email response I got from my pitches was someone asking if I do retro fonts. And oh my God, that was the first response I got, and I just wanted to cry. But then I started getting other responses. And I realized that my time would be full, and I could say no. I could very kindly and politely say, I'm sorry, I'm not the person for you. That's not what I do. That's not what I excel at. And very slowly, I've learned how to even sort of recommend other people if I'm asked to do something that I don't. I have a bit of a local circle where I can now, recommend someone else. But it means that by working for my ideal client, I'm getting more work from my ideal client. And I have enough to do. In terms of hours, I'm full. I don't have more hours. So
I love that. That
it just means that I can say no.
So happy. I think one of the biggest lessons in the Craft Academy is saying no to people who are not your ideal client, so you can make more.
It's so scary
for people who are. Yeah, and you are literally doing it in just 3 months, and that's why I love bringing on people who are fairly newer in the program to show how much you can actually change in just 3 months if you focus and trust the program. And you are doing
absolutely that. Trust the program. Absolutely trust the program. Absolutely immerse yourself in it. It's what I did. And, definitely 100%, you can say no. If you end up doing something you're not good at, you're not going to be good at it. And it then spirals the wrong way rather than spiraling the right way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I do want to touch, kind of dive into more of the tactical advice phase of our interviews. And this is specifically for people who are not in the Craft Academy yet or are going to be in the Craft Academy soon. So when it comes to pitching, what's your biggest tactical advice for that?
I got to be honest, my most tactical advice is to start the program, do a little bit of soul searching, which the program helps you with. Do the writing you need to, do the activities you need to, and then just go old school like I did. Use the templates, make a list, and drop out some emails. When I first started this, doing like a personal face-to-face pitch absolutely filled me with dread. But once you get the words and the answers you need to have to potential questions, it becomes easier. There's this funny kind of beautiful confidence that comes out in the way you talk and the way you hold yourself. And definitely, my advice would be trust the program, trust the calligraphy gang around you, and, ask definitely. It's not just about pitching. There's a whole load of pieces of puzzles around it. And they all fit together. You can't do one without the other. I would definitely say,
I swear, because everyone asks about pitching, right? Like that's like the number one question when it comes to the Craft Academy. People want to know how to pitch and how to, put yourself out there, but you can't pitch yourself if you don't have a brand identity. You can't pitch yourself if you don't know what your niche is, right?
No. And, sometimes, I've had one client in particular. I know I came on a coaching call to ask about this. I had one client in particular that approached me who actually didn't know what they wanted. They wanted something for their members, but they couldn't figure out what they wanted. And they just said, we'd like to talk to you. So would you like to come and do a proposal? And I was just like, what exactly would you like? But it was quite a nice opportunity for me to plan what I would have liked to do for their clients. And it was a nice opportunity. Yeah. And it was really nice because, there was a fair few of us on the call. I could get lots of advice, ideas. We could just brainstorm. And I could get told, that's a good idea. Let's drop that one because these are better. It was just a really nice conversation to be part of. I still have my little spider diagram from it and I use it.
Yeah, and I think what's awesome about that is that you're actually talking to real calligraphers who have done this in the past, right? So you're not just like pulling stuff out of thin air and not really knowing how it's going to operate, but you're talking to people who have done things before. Like they've done metal engraving, they've done whiskey engraving, shot glasses. And so this is like real experience that's coming in so that you feel more prepared pitching that to your client.
And what was really interesting, because when I took this proposal, I felt like even though we're, in a different country, I felt like, my TCA fam kind of knew what their clients would enjoy. almost better than how they could describe it. So when I went with a proposal, they were like, yeah, this sounds great. Let's do this and not that. And, we were thinking, I mean, they had some really wacky ideas that were not going to work for me anyway. But, it meant that I could actually steer it in a way that I said, I talked to this person who's done this, and I spoke to this person who recommended that, and these were the successful outcomes. So let's do that. And it was just lovely. It was a lovely conversation to have with, people who understood.
Yes, I love that. So we're getting close to the end of the interview, and I swear this is probably the fastest that I feel like time is going by so fast right now, just because everything that you're saying is golden, and I think it's going to help a lot of people who are listening to the interview. So these are the two questions that I usually ask all of our interviewees. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about investing in themselves?
I would say take the leap. You're not jumping into a black hole. Take the leap. It's not just a time saver. For me, it wasn't just a time saver. It gave me direction, which helped me with positivity. It gave me a really sort of structured, I like structure, and it gave me a really structured, mindful approach on how to do things. I could map it out on my calendar, so I knew every a couple times a week I'm going to calls, or I'm doing a module, or I'm practicing what I need to, or homework for a module. I knew exactly what I need to do, and it was just a really comforting way of going into something, especially when you're seeing things happen that you really couldn't have done before. I couldn't have done before. And I think some of the TCA fam would agree that actually we couldn't have done this before. Because if I'd done it on my own, like you said at the start, you fail 5 times before you get it right. And that kills your drive. I like success. Who doesn't like success, right? And it really gets you down when you keep sort of pushing against the wrong stone. So take the leap. Absolutely.
Oh, beautifully said, Sue. That was amazing. And then the last question that I ask everyone, what would you tell yourself in 2017? Or actually, sorry, when did you start your business again? I forget.
2017, yeah.
2017, okay. What would you tell yourself in 2017 when you first started, knowing what you know now?
I would say stop shooting arrows in the dark.
Yeah.
I would also say, Sue, you can leave the race. You can leave the rat pack. You can have a bit more balance and structure to your life. And, you just need to be brave and have the fear of leaving one thing, but then believing in something else. And, just having the drive to make sure that it happens. Hard work, dedication, time, and lots of positivity, and, a really serious cheerleading team around you. And it can happen.
Sue, you got my heart. I can die happy now.
No, definitely. I will say this, and I say this again. I'm grateful for the Craft Academy and you, Rosie, every day.
Yay. And I'm so grateful that you trusted me to guide you on this journey. This is truly just the beginning for you. This has only been month 3 and we have a lifetime together. So I'm really excited to see where things go for you in the next year or so. We'll do another interview in about a year because we love doing catch-ups and seeing how things improve for you and change for you. It's going to be amazing. So what is up next for the Cambridge Calligrapher?
So I'm currently working on a couple of new skills. I've been working on improving my foiling technique. I'm going to see someone who can give me a little bit of guidance soon, someone within the TCA fam. So that's really exciting. And I'm also about to launch my first workshop. I've been working on doing these workshops. I've been really keen to run workshops that focus not just on calligraphy, but mindfulness as well. The sort of thing I needed when I was on maternity leave. So I'm really excited that the first one is just under 2 weeks. And I've got a few Christmas products that are coming. So hopefully I can launch those and, get people a bit more excited about, the Cambridge Calligrapher.
Yay! So many good things coming down the pipeline. If people want to learn from you and connect with you, where can they find you?
So I am on Instagram and I am at Cambridge Calligrapher. My email is on there. A way to contact me is also on there. So yeah, just send me a DM and I would love to hear from you guys. If you're thinking about joining the Craft Academy and you have any questions, please feel free to drop me a message as well. Very happy to answer those questions.
Yes, definitely. And again, Sue is authentic and kind. So any question that you might have, it's going to be amazing for you either way. So definitely connect with her and just connect with as many calligraphers as you can, because that makes a huge difference when you have a community behind you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just to close out the interview, I've known Sue for maybe 3 really short months now, and she has had so much growth and worked with incredible brands like Dior and Jo Malone. If you haven't heard about the Craft Academy yet, I definitely recommend that you check it out. You can go to my website, wandercrafter.com/the Craft Academy. I believe I'll drop the link down below. And then, it is a step-by-step coaching program on how to go from 0 clients and no business to working, with your dream clients and building the business of your dreams and working, living the life that you want to and having that freedom. We can help you, whether it's for a side hustle only, or if you want to turn it into a full-time hustle, we're definitely here. And, as Sue has proven, our methods work around the world. She's in UK, I'm in the US, and it has worked literally everywhere. We've got people in Germany, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, and so many of them are pioneering their way for calligraphers. So it's amazing to be a part of that growth on a global level. If this interview resonated with you, definitely book a call with me and my team. Just go to wandercrafter.com/apply. Or if you want more personalized advice, you can actually go to wandercrafter.com/quiz, and you'll take a very personalized approach. It's like 8 questions, and it'll tell you where you are in your business and how exactly to improve it. So with that, thank you so much, Sue, for coming on today. It was amazing sharing your story. Thank you so much for giving us an insight into your business, and hopefully people are taking this information and applying it to their own.
Thank you very much, Rosie.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.